Here with our next session. Now again, so we're talking about more toys that I've got here available for you in 17. These I have, this is a picture that I got off the internet. Either way, point being is that we are talking about lots of different things here with electrical. So the first one that we are talking about is move a component in a component tree. Now, similar to what you were just asking about with locations. So what you can actually do now is we can take a component that might be in L1 here. We can drag it into another area. So we could drag it and actually place it into, let's see here, where they put it. I guess I'll have to show you. So let me just go ahead back to the software here. All right, so in our components, what we've got right here, we've got all these components in L12 and L11. So if I am wanting like this light to actually be in the door, before you were having to create your outline to be able to move it, now you can actually just drag it and place it in to that location without having to do the right click, do anything like that. You can also do the same type of thing if you are just wanting to cut and paste. So if I'm wanting to take these now, I can cut these and I can take them into another location. Come on, open up the location. Don't want all that extra stuff brought out. So I can take them into a location and I can right click. Well, it helps if I actually do it correctly. Shift, right click, cut, and then I should be able to paste, and it actually moves them out of the original location and puts them in the new location. So no longer am I having to use the location manager if I'm actually doing a control panel and I'm laying it out and I realized I put stuff in the wrong location. I can do that. Now, you were asking if we can do terminals the same way. Now, so let's try that. So if we're taking those terminals, I should be able to cut those terminals, and I can now place them into another terminal strip. Let's see here. So let me try that again. So let me copy to here and do a cut. And can I place it into this one? Yes. Okay, so you can do it with terminals.
Sweet.
You can do it with components. And all it is either drag and drop or it's cut and paste to move them. So if you're creating a new location, maybe you're wanting to, and this is a way you can get around creating those detailed views. So maybe you're drawing in a 1-to-1 scale and you want that view of a smaller portion of your cabinet. Remember I said the locations are subassemblies. You could actually create under this chassis, maybe just the terminal strip as a location. You could then put just the terminal strips on a page, which would then give you all of that. But because it's a subassembly, when you go ahead to the higher level and create that drawing, you could then actually grab that subassembly and place it in. And it would give you that detailed view of the lower cabinet. You understand what I'm talking about doing there? It should work in the 2D. Should. Have I proven it out to the fullest extent? No. Can I? We can try it.
We don't need to do it right now, but I was just curious if that's the intent.
Yes, that is the intent, is to be able to get you those detailed views without needing 3D.
Okay.
Okay? That's something, so we can play with that some more and we can actually test that out and make sure all that's functional. But that's where you can actually take that to that next step in order to have that subassembly where you are looking at now if I create that top enclosure. So let's just do that real quick here. I'm just going to create, let's see here under my process, a 2D cabinet, and I'm going to do, let's see, L12, and then I am going to do, let's see, so I want L12 only, so just that door. Oops, helps if I only check that one. Or, nope, I don't want that door, I want this door. Alright, so I'm going to say OK. Come over here to my document tree. And there's my door. Now the only components that are here And of course, do I have this one? Do I have a yep, I do. Cool. All right, so let's do that one. No. Highlight that one. Come on, highlight it. Insert it. I'm going a little bit too fast for it. In the background, I'm doing a production of the previous session, and I'm also recording this one, so I'm kind of taxing my system a little bit here, which is why it's a little bit slower at the moment. All right, so, and this one doesn't have one, so I'm not going to worry about that one for right now. Now, if I create a cabinet layout, so there's my door 17. Now, if I create a cabinet layout of the main, which is that one there,
Needs a tool for uncheck all of them.
yeah, well, normally you create them all once and then you don't deal with it. So I've got that one here. Now I should be able to right click and say insert. There's 11, where's 12? I might not be able to do that. I might have to check that out a little bit further. So don't quote me on that one. I might have to test that one further. Okay? Test. Sublocations to upper assembly. Drawing. Okay. All right, so we're just going to move on because the whole point was the copy paste and moving, so you've got some extra time savings here with being able to change the location. So we were also talking about the copy paste in the component browser, which does the same type of thing. So then of course you've got a paste special that you could still do more information to, which is still going to give you the exact same thing, but you can also make some additional changes to it, especially with the copy paste special. When you are making a change, so if I am looking at these components here, and so we've got these components that are left, so when I go ahead to here and I right click and I do a copy, and I am putting them into the, let's just put them in the main cabinet here, and I do a paste special. Notice what it's giving you. Now you've got that capability of changing, again, a location, but you can also create new marks, being that I'm copying. Now I can create those new marks, so even though it's going to keep the same manufacturer, it's going to create a new mark for that specific area. Same thing with the functions. If I want to actually change the functions, if I want to actually change, let's just create new marks. Oh, let's keep the keep existing. No, let's create a new function. What's going to happen is when I go to next, notice what I can do. I can come in here and I could actually make a new one or reassociate to existing locations. Same type of thing holds true with the functions. Notice that I don't have a function here. I can create a new mark. Let's see here. Associate to existing. So maybe I want to change it to a specific one for each of those. And then, of course, I can go into the next part, and here it's saying L1. That's really fine because I really didn't need to change that. Go ahead and finish it. And now I've got those extra components here. And let's see here. Create that. So I now have more lights here with those new numbers compared to what they were here. Did it? No, actually here they are, right here at the bottom. Because they do not have numbers yet because, of course, I have not placed them on a schematic. Now, if you remember with your design rule checks, the first thing that it wants to do with a design rule check is make sure that you are using them in a project. So, of course, if I go to that design rule check and I've assigned parts to it, but I haven't used them in my in my schematic, I can simply check that and notice that my 00 lights are right there that I still need to put into my schematic. And remember, any of these design rule checks should be empty. They should not have anything in them in order to be correct and fully functional. So this is the way that I know that I have more work that needs to be done in the project because the design rule check is not empty. Okay? But what's nice about that, which is where we can now take that, remember that I can now, because it's blue and underlined, I can now highlight that and go to that component, find it, and it will find it over here. Notice it highlighted that specific one. I can now take it and place it on a schematic. Let's come back to that one here and actually take that and pull that. And I can right click on this right here, and I have that insert the symbol. I can find the symbol that I want to use. Maybe it's a green light here. Oh, how about that one? No, that's mags. I don't want mags. And put it right there. But now it's there, and what ends up happening, sorry, Ben. I've got, so now when I go back into my project here, into the design rule check, I now no longer have that specific light. I only have these three that are left. So as I'm using that, I can use, remember I've got that right click for insert symbol now, that I can make things even quicker, but I can go directly to the specific device because since I've got three of them here, I don't know which one's which. But by using that right click and the go-to of the component, it takes me directly to which one it physically is. Once I've placed them on the schematic, I can then, of course, use that update marks to renumber, and I'm going to do the recalculate of the components here. I'm not going to worry about the terminals. And say yes, and it's going to update that one to now being 810, which then changes this one to my 810. Now it's a fully functional component. Okay?
If we have in our manufacturer part record, if we have the symbol already designated, will it just pull it up?
It will if you do it this way. If you are looking at that device, and remember you can add any device straight from your component tab. You can grab a component or the component manufacturer. In the component manufacturer, if you have ever noticed that when you are grabbing any part, so let me just come up here to any part. And what have I got here for coils? I don't want I don't want coils. Let's grab something else. Let's just grab another part. Let's grab contacts or connectors. Here we go. All right, so if I am looking at that part, I have the availability of, let me grab that and say select, enter the number of components, that's okay. All right, so I'm going to grab that component, and where did I just place that? I just placed it right there at CR. All right, now this component, if I added it here, but what I can do in that part in the library before I even create this. So let me go into my properties here and look at that manufacturer. So if I edit this, I can do a couple of things in the library. One of them is create that symbol that it is going to use automatically for that main manufacturer. I can do the same thing with the 2D footprint so that it's automatically going to grab that. So I could create, I could even do like the reverse engineering. You've got those reverse engineering projects that you need to go from the backwards. You could create an Excel spreadsheet that had, even if you wanted to give it numbers, you could, as long as it had a reference number and a manufacturer, you could come in and use this import data. And the import data, hang on here, let me cancel that. Import data will then allow me to use an import from Excel, an Excel spreadsheet that as long as I had a manufacturer and a part number, I could then bring it in and it could populate my entire component tree. And if you already had the symbols there, you could then just right-click, drop it on the symbol on the schematic, and create your entire project reverse that way. So in that way, it would already have that symbol there for you for that specific one. You could even have the root mark available or anything else. But as long as you had that Excel spreadsheet, you would just match that up utilizing this wizard, and it would populate this entire component tree for you.
Okay.
If you use a previous project you've done and you're using it for basically putting components on there, first off, you don't need necessarily all of them that were in the previous project.
Right.
Can you dump the unused when you're done?
You could either dump the unused when you're done, because of course anything that was on that design rule check that you didn't use, you could just go ahead and delete from your component tree, and it would be done that way,
Cleaned it up.
and it would be cleaned up.
Okay.
Yep. So that is another way that you could utilize that, yes.
Really good photo.
Okay. So that's kind of where I was going here with this secondary one. Here with the cut and paste, that you could actually move things around, but at the same time, don't forget that you've got that ability to use the fact that you can create your components first and then create the schematics. You could also even create your cabinet layout first and then go back and create the schematic. Especially with something that you're reverse engineering, that's one of the easiest things to do, is because you've got a picture of it or something right in front of you anyway, that you could then grab those components, put them in your component tree, create that cabinet layout, and then go ahead and drop in the components into the schematics. So another way you can do it. This next one is actually kind of neat. Now, if you've ever noticed with your symbols, when you create the symbols, you get the big red dots at the end of your symbols to show where the wires are going to be connecting up to. Now, what they've done is they made this so that you can now use, under the graphics area of your project, you can always say that they will never show. So even if you never want them to show up, you can turn them off, and you can do this at any time in the project. You can turn them off, you can turn them always on, or you can say when they're connected. Now, if you think about CAD, you didn't have to use snap and you didn't have to use grid, so your lines were not necessarily always at that point where you were straight. I've got people that do that on a regular basis, and then they wonder why the wires didn't cut, because their symbol was slightly off compared to their wire. Now, there's two things that they did here, which is really kind of cool. Let me get off of this sheet. Let me close some of these sheets here so that we can start out with something that's a little bit more clean. Because the first thing I want to show you is that what they did do is made it so that if somebody decides to create a sheet, let me just go ahead and create a new schematic sheet here, and they decided not to use snap. So snap is off. So snap is off. I'm going to draw a wire. Now, if I draw a wire from here, ortho's still on. So let me turn ortho off. So my line is, I'm going to skew this more than you normally would to see this. All right, there is my wire. When I now add a schematic symbol, all right, before, when you would add a contact, what would end up happening? You would grab a contact, and the first thing that would happen is you would place it on your, let me go ahead and turn on snap. So I'm going to go ahead and grab snap. And when I do, and say OK, it would give you something like this, yes? And it wouldn't cut your wire. All right, now, if by chance I allow, let me see if I can do that again. And this time I am going to let it, see if I can get it to work. I gotta find one where it's actually snapped to the wire.
You could do O snap and have it do.
Maybe that's what it is. O snap. Turn the O snap. Turn the O snap. That's what I gotta do. Turn the O snap on. But remember, I gotta do that while I'm drawing here, and I'm gonna say that it is gonna grab the nearest. And now I'm gonna grab, I can't turn snap on. I gotta turn just O snap. Grab it to there. Notice what this contact did. You can actually get it on a non-orthogonal wire to snap and cut the wire with O snap. You should never have to do that. But the point is, this is wrong on some, but there are so many people that do this.
For your dyslexic panel builder.
There are so many people that do this because they turn ortho off. They
You
do
saw
not.
three people?
So now they gotta prop the monitor.
I'm up to 4 now.
But you know, but what I'm trying to tell you though is there are people that do not use ortho on a regular basis.
They shouldn't be engineering.
They shouldn't be. We're not going to go there. But the point is that you now have. All right. Yes. Okay.
So since you brought this up, though, when you go to orientation of the symbols, the one thing that's bugged me a lot is orientation is always based off the symbol design when it gives you the 0, 90, 180, 270.
Yes.
Is that still the case, or have they changed it to where it's based more off of what you're looking at on the screen on the fly? Because the current situation right now, you have to know how the symbol was designed in order to know what 0, 90, 180, and 270 mean.
Correct.
And we've got a controlled system for creating our symbols that you can guess pretty accurately which way things are going to go in it.
Okay, but if you are just going to be dropping this on, so right now, if by hitting the space bar,
Let's say it's already inserted though. And you want to
okay,
put it over.
yes, once you've already inserted it, no matter what it was, now you have no way of knowing, other than the fact of the pink dot.
But you can control where that pink dot is based off your symbol design, so that's not always a clue. You're using that. I could draw a symbol.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah, the
I could, yes. Now I could not. I could invert it, or I could mirror it, or I could. Which I don't know whether now this is being that it's mirrored. I could either have it mirrored, or it could be at 270 degrees.
So I guess maybe this is more of a feature request if it hasn't changed. I'm okay with the tools that they currently have, but I'd like to see it get supplemented with another option of rotation based off of the current edition of the symbol, so that I don't have to know. I want it to be 180 degrees relative to what I see right now, and it chooses on the fly.
Right, I've had that happen before too, where it's like I'll go to rotate something and not realize that it was mirrored. Now it'll be
Yeah.
kind of wonky.
Yeah, and then you can get into other situations too, where
Yeah.
you invert and then rotate, and it's not clear how to get back to where you were without just deleting and inserting.
Okay, and I can totally see where that's going. Yes, I can put in an enhancement request for that, or at least research to see if one's already there. And if so, I can add you to it. All right, so where was I at when I was going through? Oh, connection dots. Okay, connection dots. All right, so back here on connection dots. So, again, this one is connected. This one is not. And so now if I come to my project configurations drop down, project, to the graphics, I can say that it is always on, I can say that it is never on, or I can say when it is connected. So now what will happen? I guess I have to make sure that the symbols show first. So let's see here. This symbol, when I open it, I do have to make sure that connection dots is checked in order for that to function. So let me just say yes to that. And now let me update my symbol. Symbol update. Identical. And the current one. So notice this one's not connected, neither is that one. If I go ahead now and draw a schematics wire, and of course a drain line. I don't need a drain line. Let's go ahead to electrical. All right, now I'm going to draw, let's see here, from here to here. All right, so notice that it is now connected. Now if I grab that and I pull that all the way across, now it's connected on both sides. Therefore, now you can see it. You can either turn it on, you can turn it off, but one of the things you do need to make sure is that the symbol originally allowed for you to turn on the dots. If it was always turned off, it will not allow that function. But it gives you a nice, easy, quick way of being able to say, is it connected? Is it not connected? Now, again, this symbol is not turned on, probably because the same type of thing, that symbol property was not turned on to begin with. Any questions there? Oh,
Thanks a lot.
Doug, thank you very much for joining. All right, so the next one that we're talking about is copying circuits to the manufacturer's parts. Now, these copy circuits becomes an issue, of course, when you are wanting to take an existing part that you've got in your library, and it's the same part, or the same setup, but a different manufacturer. We've got a lot of those, especially when you're dealing with some of the smaller stuff, but you can also use it like with your PLC cards, just to make it life a little bit quicker. So you can actually do a copy and a paste to a new part number. So something along that line would be, I'm sorry?
Oh, really?
Yes, oh really?
Okay.
Yes.
It's because it all blow up. It used to, you used to have to start from scratch, didn't you?
Used to have to start from scratch, yep.
That's right.
Yep, so I could actually add a new manufacturer here and just put in a part number and a manufacturer. What? I don't want class. Change the class. No, I don't want class. I want manufacturer here, generic. All right, and so right now this part has nothing in it. Of course, I don't even know where I put it, let alone that fact. So let me go back to, was it something like that maybe? Yep, there it is. All right, cool. All right, so now I can take this part, no matter what it is. I can copy the circuits from that part, and I can drop it into this part. So now when I open up that part, it's already created for me. Saves a little bit of time, saves a little bit of typing. With some of the smaller stuffs, it's not so much a big issue, but when you're dealing with some of the bigger stuff, especially like with frequency drives, safety relays, yes. Something along that line, yes. So that becomes real quick. And at the same time, if you made a mistake, you can just as easily, if I grab the wrong one, I could just as easily remove the circuits just by hitting the delete button. And it won't delete the part, but it will delete the circuits inside the part. So now all of a sudden I can come back, and when I open it, nothing is there. So it gives me that option, just a couple of less mouse clicks to make it easier for you.
You can do a control all and then delete all your circuits and wreck your day, couldn't you?
You could, yes, yes, you could. I don't know why I'd ever do something like that, but you could, yes. So that's what we're talking about here. Wow. All right.
I've had moments like that.
Oh, my Lord. All right. Now, with automatic insertions, there's a lot that you can do with automatic insertions. Has anybody tried using the automatic insertions for the origin destination arrows?
It doesn't work, or at least the way I
I always hope you envision it to help you connect all your common
Yeah.
between sheets, but I think it's
It
intended.
now can. It now can. Right here. Now, if you've got one ground wire and it's called ground at each of them, you can connect all the equipotentials with the same mark.
What's the logic that it applies? What sequence does it go in?
It is going to go in sequence from sheet 1 through sheet.
This brings up
Forward.
another question from an old
Yes.
issue. When we do like ANSI drawings with 11 by 17 split in half,
Mm-hmm.
up until now, 2016 service pack 3 it was currently on, it still doesn't treat the
Second half of the sheet as a separate entity. It counts.
So when it goes ordering, it always goes across and then down, and you get order numbers split across the two sheets.
Right.
So this is two questions in one. Has that been addressed, and if it has or hasn't been, how does that play with the new origin destination assignment? Does it
Okay.
go across the entire sheet, or does it go down the sheet, or down the half and then down the next half?
It is going to go based off of what you have set up for your numbering inside your project. So in your configurations, when you are looking at the numbering order, this numbering direction order here, it is either going full left to right, so it does not split it yet. It is still going left to right, then top to bottom, or you can select from top to bottom, then left to right. So that would go from top to bottom, incrementing over to the second half. But that's going to work the same for all of the component numbering and all of your wire numbering. Where if you were using sheet number followed by row number, your row numbers would then reset, and therefore that resetting would trigger it to be a next piece.
And that's what we've got right now, but where it still bites us is when we let the wire numbers be what they are numerically or in order sequentially.
Right.
When things start getting out of order.
Yes, exactly.
But I guess to split those up into two questions, for the first it is still not been addressed.
Correct. Correct. It has not. I can double check that to see where that is at.
Ben, what you're saying is on your 11 by 17, you got a column of line numbers and then another column of line numbers.
Yep.
And you're not able to keep that like 0 through 10 and then 11 through 19?
We can. And so when we do what you and Cheri talked about, where we have identifying marks for components based off of the sheet, if you did a sheet and you did a row number, those components, if numbered based off of sheet and row number, will always be unique because of their geographical location. But we do let wire numbers do their thing, and they're not based off of a sheet and row position. And so they want to go 1, 2, 3, 4 based on the order of the pairs.
Oh, okay.
It scans across the entire 11 by 17 sheet. And so you could have wire number 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so you're not doing it geographically because we set that up in our title blocks and it works quite well.
We are for 90% of this stuff.
Right.
There's just a few situations where we would like the wire numbers have really no meaning, so we just wanted to go in the order that they appear.
And this, here's where that would come into play. If you had 2 columns here,
Oh, yeah.
and you have 3-phase here and over here, then you would end up possibly having, like right now, I've got 3 and then 4 and then 5 and then 6. But if you had another column here and more 3-phase here, it would go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9, 10, rather than staying in the first column before it went over to the second column.
Okay, I didn't understand
Yeah,
that.
no, and so that was just, but yeah, we can change over to the row and sheet number, and that's addressed most of the problems. Yeah, the phase numbers is a perfect example.
Yes, yes, it's exactly the same problem, yes. So yes, I will double check that one as well as far as if, because I have not checked that in 17 yet to know how that handles. So that would be something that I could easily start testing out when I have some time. But so yeah, same type of thing here. If you've got wire numbers, like when you are creating your formula, and in a project you are looking at that one wire number, so if I am looking at, we'll create a new wire style here that we'll call, let's go into the marks, into the wire style, and I will just create a new style here. I'll use this existing style. Excuse me. And we will just call this equipotential formula, and we're just going to call this common. All right, so that's what it is going to be no matter what. So it's a common wire. It's that 24 volt. All right, great. So now when I go to use that, if I draw schematic, I'm going to draw multiple, let's draw 4 of them, and I'm going to say of that 24 volt there, put them into here and actually say project process, number new wires. All right, they all say common. Now, when I go to my schematic and I say origin, destination, arrows, I say auto connect. I guess I have to hit auto connect and then something else. Hang on one second. I haven't done this one yet. Auto connect. Connect all potential with the same mark. There is a drop down under here that I have missed. Gotcha. I haven't played a lot with the new stuff yet, so I'm still trying to get how that works. Drop down arrows. Auto insertion. There we go. All right, connect all equipotentials with the same mark. There we go.
And connect on parent. Oh, no.
That's a different.
That radio button was checked in your example.
Connect with location is exactly the same. Connect if location is different. Auto connect, reconnect, remove arrows. So there's that drop down there. So it starts at the top, works its way down. So then, like if your grounds were going from sheet to sheet to sheet, you don't have to, that auto connect does work there.
That's goofy.
Something's goofy.
You go from 6
Yeah,
Those 6 to
because
6, those
yeah,
6 to
because
6.
my sheet, I've got 3/4 of an inch between here.
Oh, okay.
So the wires were only at a 1/2 inch, and so there's 2 of them are actually.
For that trick to work, you need a method of having, in the case of a ground, you would have gone through and made sure on every sheet that you're drawing ground wires, you gave it that you manually marked them all as ground, or your wire style has an equation that always equals ground.
Yes, that's what I would do with. I've got a lot of people that actually use a common for their grounds. They either use GND. Is the one that I see the most. And so when they are looking at that wire style, so their formula just says this. And then, yes, all of those would be automatically connected up. Yeah, I've got a couple of different customers that do that. They do that with, the 24-volt DC. Rather than having separate numbers for all of it, they call 24-volt DC their common main power. They call that all one wire style. And then, so anywhere that's at, it is all connected up on a terminal strip, and they just distribute it. And so, again, this would work for that.
You wouldn't have to think about any of your commons, which are going to every single photo eye, to every single pilot light, to every single whatever,
Exactly.
and they're all,
Yes.
you leave your power supply, and you've got a to from.
Mm-hmm.
That'd save some time.
Yes, that would save a lot of time. So that's way some customers actually do that.
Will it organize all the to from text, so I don't have to go put it all in numeric order?
What do you mean? The to from text.
We'll have a
order.
power supply on page 10.
Yep.
And then on page 11, 12, 13, 14, you've got all different devices on those pages. And when you do the to from arrows, the reference numbers never drop in order, and I've always got to take 5 minutes and manually sort them all out so they're in
This is
order.
going to do them in consecutive order, so it's always going to do one arrow in, one arrow out.
So it won't.
Oh, so
It
I
will
can't go
not-
from-
it will
I
not-
can't go from one
Now
source to
that I
multiple
think
from
might
one
that
parent
well I
to
think that
multiple
could be
children.
that's got to be that one of those other drop downs. So let's look at those other drop downs. So under this automatic insertion, that's probably, let's see here, connect only equipotential with manual mark. Connect if location is different. Connect when parent location is the same. Connect when location is exactly the same. So yeah, it's only going to do it in order. It's not going to merge all those as if it were a distribution block.
Okay. Phil, all right.
Okay. But that's automatic insertion again.
My bubble just popped.
Yeah.
You're going to do that.
Yep. All right. So that's where we're going with that. Now, again, we were talking about the whole fact of people drawing without ortho on. Another big one is being able to have the snap on automatically. So now the snap is on automatically whenever you go to edit a symbol. So even if Joe forgets to turn the snap on when he saves the symbol, if you go back into the symbol to edit it, it's going to automatically turn back on.
You was talking about component blocks. Couldn't you use the component blocks as a part in the thing, and put it on to connect between the terminal blocks?
Mm-hmm.
But internally, don't connect to anything external. Just connect to the terminal block, and then have the terminal block connect to other things.
Sure.
That would route it for you.
Sure.
It might be an answer to what you were saying. I'm not sure.
No, we do it more like she said. It's like a distribution point. You know, row 12 on page 13 is where your DC power supply common will come from the DC power supply, and then that point gets referenced through 40 other pages. Everything comes back to that point.
We just started trying that. I guess I wasn't aware of that going on, but they don't stay in order. Like when you have
When you stick them in, they go in the order that you actually do the origin destination, which it's never sequential. But then you just got to go and shuffle. It's just tedious. It's 5 minutes.
I know, because I never looked at them close enough. I assumed that they were staying in the sheet order when I drag things around.
No, they don't.
They do, as long as you put them in that order when you're
Well,
creating
yeah,
them,
you
but he
do.
never
But
does.
You edit sheet 10, and then you go to 50, and then you go to 27, and you're connecting.
So
all your
yeah, it's
comments.
created in the order that you added the insertion or the origin destination arrows. It's not going to
Type A, but it
refilter
has
them
limits.
for you in sequential order. Oh, that's good. All right, so we're talking about that snap. Now, the other time that it does a snap is when you're creating a new symbol. So anytime that you are working in that. Now, that works, wait a minute, come on, I didn't want to shut down my software. Darn it. I guess I have to open it back up again. Give me a second here to open that up. Close that, get to my software here. Of course, as we said many times, yep, you close something by accident, everything is still saved. All right, so where were we at here? We were talking about creating an edit of a new symbol. So even if I open up a symbol at any point in time now, when I open it, notice snap is always on. And the same holds true now when I go ahead to say library symbol and I create a new symbol. Of course, I don't like metric. I'm an imperial person. Okay, Z2. All right, now let's go find that symbol. That symbol description is a test. Test. All right, there it is right there. When I go to open that up, again, snap is automatically on, so you no longer have to deal with this function. Now notice ortho is not. So you can actually draw a symbol that is slightly crooked, and if you don't have ortho on, when you start, you can make some major snafus. So just as a heads up, it is just snap that is on. I wish they would turn ortho on too, because at least that way I could guarantee people are drawing straight, but who am I?
You come out to the woodshed enough, though.
Who am I?
I plan on just making everything crooked, just to watch everybody suffer.
Listen, now, come
My
on,
department.
come on.
That's awesome.
All right, so if you're familiar with multiple attributes, is everybody familiar with multiple attributes? Some yes, some no. Cody, maybe not. All right, so we'll go through the whole process here. So in a multiple attribute, I just did it again. Yeah, gotta love it.
Get her another Pepsi.
Oh man, my Pepsi is empty actually. Yes, that is probably part of my problem. Let's see here. All right, we're getting close. What time were we supposed to be ending? Spend a little bit more time here. All right. So back here, let me go ahead and minimize that. All right, so we're back in this project one more time. Multiple attributes. So you've got a schematic sheet, and maybe this schematic sheet right now it says just power, it says packaging line, but maybe I end up wanting to have it longer than this, and it's not going to fit in this text. So, of course, the first thing that I want to do is if I were to make this a normal thing, let me go ahead and just add testing. Wow, I can't even type. Testing for demo purposes. And notice now, of course, when I do that, it is now just barely long enough, but definitely not what I want in this title block. If I open up the title block, and go into this. What I normally do here is this is, again, of course, I don't know which one I'm looking at, so again, I'm going to show the attribute description. There it is, description. That is the one that I am working with. Great. So now that I know that, show the attribute. I'm going to get rid of these other two because I don't want them. All right. To create a multiple attribute, what it's going to do is give you that one attribute that you can make extra long and have it actually take up 2 lines of text. All right, so I've got 2 lines of text. I am going to specify the position on the screen. I'm going to highlight this, and now notice that all I have to do is scroll down here, and I'm going to line that up now. Of course, it's not quite lined up correctly here, so I'm going to put it right there. All right, and of course snap was on again. I want to make sure snap is still on in my good. I'm going to make sure Snap is still on in my title block here when I close it, because of course anything way that I save this is the way that that title block is going to work now. So let's go ahead and save the title block. Now that title block is now going to be updated by simply highlighting the update title block. Say yes. Now this has not changed because I now need to use something called a pipe symbol. So in my properties here where I want the line break, I would come over here and add the pipe symbol, being the symbol that is the straight up and down line. And I say okay. And it breaks it up into 2 lines. Now, this works great, except that in 2016, when you came to the reports, the report all of a sudden still showed the pipe symbol. Yeah. Okay, so that becomes an issue when you are dealing with something like the drawing list, because of course the drawing list had, what is my drawing list? I've got all kinds of stuff here in the drawing list. So if I hit, now of course we've got that update always, or you can update the drawings now, right now while you're working. So if I say generate drawing and I look at my, where's my drawing list? Where's my drawing list? Huh. That's the terminals. I guess I don't have it selected there. I guess I need to actually add my drawing list. Drawing list is folio tag. That one there. Helps if you actually have it. Cool. All right, so notice here, there's my pipe symbol. So let's generate that drawing. Drawing list. Now normally I make the drawing list last, because if you are making it last, then it will actually do all the other updates first and then update your drawing list. But at this point,
added another bill of materials.
and this is the problem that you had with your PDF, which is something that we'll look at here in just a second. All right, so I'm going to look at that drawing list now. And the drawing list now breaks it apart and gives you 2 lines of text, where before it put that pipe symbol in there. So it automatically is adhering to that same style.
Address, comments, and a PLC.
Address, comments, and
Can
appeals.
you do that there also?
Address, comments.
Descriptions for your IO points.
Yeah.
on the fields.
Descriptions for your I/O points.
Anywhere that you use multiple attributes, this will now recognize that.
Can it be done on character count instead of
No,
rats? Okay.
it's based off of the pipe symbol only. Okay. So, but the next section, let's see here. Go back to this one and go back to the current. Okay. So that's where you can find it anywhere in the text where it's got that line break. It's going to let you do that. All right. So, component in a report. So we kind of looked at this a little bit. I'm going to skip this one for right now just because we are running short on some time here. But I want to look at not so much this one, locations and functions description. What we've got is the fact that before you could not actually put the text in for a function or a location. That was not a column that was available. So that column, when you were looking at reports, you would actually have to create a custom report and get quite into in depth, which I know you did before. But you now have on any of the reports, so like this bill of materials here, when I get into the properties, you now have those available for the location names. Let's see here, a location identifier was the one that you had before, and depending on function name, I think it's depending on which report you are looking at, has the actual those extra fields. So let me check another one here and see if I can actually find it. No, I don't know which reports they have actually added those into. Let me double check that again. It is under new features, so I've got it foliometric. Foliometric. All right, so that would be foliometric, add foliometric. Oh, looks like I don't have that actual report here. So, oh, I got folio imperial, so I've got to have foliometric somewhere. Maybe not. Folio imperial, I do not have foliometric. All right, so it looks like I've got a report that if anybody wants it, I can provide that to you. It's probably just a report that I don't have shared. It's probably only in a specific project right now and not in the application. You know that anything that's green is only in the application, anything that's red is available to everyone. So it's probably one that I've got in a different project that I have not shared to myself with the other ones, which is why it's not there and available. I apologize for that. That was unexpected. This is the one that I wanted you to see. Renumber documents. This one, remember when we tried to create a PDF and the reports were in a wrong order for you because that's the way they were created. You now have a capability of no matter which way. So notice my reports here might be a little bit out of the ordinary. I can do a couple of things. One, right click and I can actually number per folder now if I want to do just per folder. So I can renumber the documents here, but I can do a couple of different things. I can renumber them, I can update the marks, or I can recalculate the order in which they were created. Which means that my project reports now, if I want them to be at the very end, even though I may have generated them before I added a couple of other schematics, no matter what now, my PDF is going to be correct if I use the reorder number.
So if you go and shuffle into different folders or whatever, and that's where we were getting hosed because we moved stuff around.
Yes.
So that was based upon when
Creation date. It was created. It was set upon the creation order of the schematics or the reports.
So how do you fix it? You select
Now all you have to do is recalculate the order number based off of what you are selecting. You can either select the entire project, a book, a folder, or just specific
So
documents.
shuffle it the way you want it, hit whole project, and then
Yes. And
Okay.
that way your PDF will come out in that same direction, because before you could actually have those shuffled incorrectly, and even though you have them in an order here, if you by chance moved something, what would end up happening is it would not. So if I put it here and then I tried to create a PDF, it would not create that PDF in this order. It created the PDF in the order that you created the original documents.
Is that a bug or?
It was a bug.
What version is still there?
It was there until 16. 17, you can now reorder by changing the order number of the drawings.
To look more closely at our PDFs, I have
you change the sheet numbers. You'd shuffle it, change the sheet numbers, but yet when you did the PDF, it would go bonk, 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 bonk. And if you're doing like a sequential number like sheet 20 of 30, 21 of 30, 22 of 30, it dork it up and stick to them in the wrong spot. You have to go grab Acrobat and reshuffle your PDF.
I'll check.
Okay, so that does allow you now to be able to not only select
Where was it?
anywhere that you are selecting.
Oh, how do you fix it? Where do you?
Right here,
Okay,
renumber
renumber.
renumber documents, but what you can do is you can either update marks or you can recalculate the order. And so you can select just a specific one. So if you are looking at just a specific folder, so if I'm looking at just a specific folder, I can come to the folder and say right click, and I can say renumber documents here, and I can look at just that folder, and I can give it that first step of what I want it to start with. So maybe I want it to start with 10. It will go ahead and actually start with number 10. Or number 1. I guess I started it with number 1. But so the point being is that I can actually make changes throughout now of how it's actually ordering for your PDF. There's some other cool stuff that you can do with that I've found as well. I've got another customer that likes to have each folder starting with page 1. And then the identity of the PDF then is capturing the project and the folder number and the page number in the PDF version, but yet doesn't show that way on any of his numbering. It's actually kind of cool. I ended up working with him quite extensively yesterday. But so you've got this reorder number function available, which gives you just some flexibility that you didn't realize that you had, that you were restricted in before. Or it fixed some bugs like what you had, which is what we reported. So that's where that came from. All right. The different language thing. So we have the different languages. So when you are in the software, you had the capability of doing some additional functionality here. And I believe this one is right here in the project. Is this where it's at? Did I miss that? Where is that one at? I'm sorry? Oh, then I guess we better stop right here.
Parlez-vous français? Oui, anyway.
All right. What I can do is I will add some extra information for anybody that wants. Send me an email real quick. Anybody that wants my email address that doesn't have it, just ask me and I'll put in a little video here. Maybe I can add it to their list that I can publish later for you to have so that you can review like the super